to be so clear, but I'm caught inside a misty gloom. I'm fighting crazy shadows.
What's going on, everybody? So today we're going to be talking about the history or story of God Eater. So right now I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to title this series, but nonetheless, this is birthing from a comment from my man No Name on the History of Code Vein series. And I don't know, it really just sparked a large interest in me, and I realized that there's not too much lore videos of specifically God Eater, right? Anywhere. So why not, kind of fill that gap? And on top of that, God Eater 3 story is going to be continuing. So this is a series that once we catch up will actually be ongoing. So I turned to my man Matt, who is the admin of the God Eater wiki, and I asked him if we could make this happen. So without further ado, let's begin. So to start things off, let it be known that if you have watched the God Eater anime, it is canon and in unison to the game. Basically, they share the same backstory, really. The main thing that happened to the anime that's different, I guess, from the games is they decided to paint a main character, right?
The best example is here. The Fenrir Far East branch with the den of
I missed a lot in the chat trying to catch up.
In any situation, no matter how extreme, we could survive alone, even should all the remaining Fenrir structures collapse.
Background. So our story starts in 2012 when Fenrir is founded in Finland. They're a biotechnical firm based out of Finland that specializes in agriculture. By around 2046, they discover oracle cells, which are single-celled organisms that can do three things. 1. Think. 2. Group into colonies. And 3. Devour anything they come into contact with. 3 scientists were assigned to study these oracle cells: Pelor Sakaki, Johannes von Schicksal, and Aisha Gosh. Johannes and Aisha were actually in a relationship during this time, and during the research into these oracle cells, it began to reveal a trait called bias. And this bias governs what the oracle cells will eat. So using this information, the trio discovered, or maybe you could call invented, a bias factor. Which is essentially a substance that controls the bias of oracle cells. Due to the potential dangers of this project, the higher-ups at Fenrir HQ wanted to bring this project to a halt, but Johannes, even though it was against Sakaki's judgment, falsified a report to eliminate information on the risks. Going into the 2050s, a massive outbreak of oracle cells escapes containment, and they begin to devour whatever they could find. They started off with small animals and worked their way up, and by mid-2050s, the first actual origami appeared, and during this time, humanity falls into dispute over the small amounts of land that have little origami activity. There are now fewer than 1 in 100 humans remaining. And while this is all going on, the original scientists, Johannes, Sakaki, and Aisha, who are the main reason this outbreak and this epidemic is happening, work with Fenrir, who by this point has become the leading world power due to the technology that they have. And the 3 scientists plus Fenrir work together to find a way to fight back against the origami. Through this collaboration, they ended up creating the first God Arc. And this was made up of the core, which is an organ in an origami that governs and controls the rest of the body's specialized cell, from an origami about the size of a cat. they were able to create this God Arc. But this first God Arc was actually a pistol. So initially, the fight against the Origami consisted of existing militaries recruited to fight the Origami with this pistol-like God Arc. But as they were going, the Origami were evolving way too quickly. And even though that pistol God Arc enabled them to salvage cores from larger Origami like the Ogre Tails, which led to the first modern God Arc, the survival rate was still too low. It was the original trio, with Aisha's guidance, who first proposed the so-called Menagarm project, and the objective being to create Oracle Cell powered super soldiers to wield the God Arcs to fight the Origami. However, implantation of Oracle Cells directly into human subjects inevitably failed, ending in Oracle Cell corruption and death due to the strength of the P73 bias factor they were using. And Aisha's last idea was to implant Oracle Cells into a developing embryo so that the cells would bond with the embryo's DNA and create a natural bond between the bias factor and person. And obviously they needed a subject, so Aisha volunteered herself, and the bias factor was implanted into her own unborn child, the product of her and Johannes. Not surprisingly, this test infamously ended in complete failure. Aisha's child was born successfully, but Aisha herself died horrifically, experiencing catastrophic Oracle Cell corruption as she turned into a giant Origami core. Johannes raised their son on his own, and meanwhile, the P73 bias factor used up to that point was toned down and altered to give rise to the P53 bias factor. This one was far more successful with human tests. And so this bias factor is what was used to create the first batch of God Eaters as we know them today. And when Soma turned 12, he started active duty as the original God Eater, whose body, due to the Menagarm project, produced its own bias factor, without the need for the periodic injections via the armlets that other God Eaters required. And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, that will be the end of part 1, where we just kind of got through the background. Part 2 will consist of God Eater Burst, and God Eater Resurrection. So we'll be talking through all those games. So if you haven't played those games and you only, have watched the anime, that will be a very, very great next step. So other than that, I'll see you all in the next video. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and yeah, peace. Lamp with the tape, I'm a legend in the room. JSquad chillin', now my homies bringin' boom. Don't try to play the game without asking about the rules. I keep my cards safe, nigga, what you do? Pop it off easy, I'm not trying to snap your neck.